In this video, I'm still dealing with getting the poles finished or polished a little bit for the dog pulling cart. And you see these are the two poles. And it really, in my case, is going to be all about these poles. These poles are going to be like gold to me because all I'm going to have to do is hook them up to one of either a small cart, a larger cart, possibly the wheelchair. And I thought of one other thing while I was working on this. I have my childhood wooden sled. The old, mine's called a Royal Racer, but it's a wooden sled with a front, you put your hands, you lay down on the sled or sit on the sled and use your feet, but you steer with the front of the sled, moving it side to side. And I can put simple rope loops on the steering mechanism of the wooden sled, and there's my cart for the winter. I also realized that if you can find the right size harness, you can also adapt this to potbelly pigs and goats. Now, only service dogs are protected under the service dog, service animal laws, but the other animals fall into the, you know, I hate the term, they call it emotional support. It depends on the training of the animal, really, in my mind. So, can you train a pig to get the phone? I don't know. Can you train a goat to get the phone? I don't know. It's the level of training and the level of ability in the different animals. But only service dogs are fully covered by the ADA service animal laws as far as getting into places or people not being able to harass you, things like that. But anyway, these poles are going to be important to me because I can take them and move them from place to place. I do have more bamboo, so I can make more poles if I want. But this is still about safety. This is a walking stick I had with my other dog, and I'm just showing you the center of it. That is crocheted yarn that I actually glued to the stick. Sometimes bamboo tends to crack. I don't know if this one cracked or not. It looks like it might have cracked at the bottom. And this is actually, looks like just plain yarn that I wrapped very tightly around the bottom to keep the bottom from the crack from spreading. This is yellow groove bamboo, and the sections don't always split the same if the pole starts to split. But the main reason to do a little bit more with these poles for the cart is for visibility, excuse me, to make the pole a little bit stronger, and also a cushioning against the dog. In other words, if you're going to go to the trouble of doing this, you want to do it where people are going to look at this setup and they're going to say, you're serious about this. That you put some time into it, some thought, and don't mess with the dog kind of thing. That's what I tend to run into. A lot of people that have smaller pets think, oh, isn't your dog cute? And yeah, he is, but don't come near him. And I don't make a lot of friends that way. People aren't educated and they don't understand. You really should not be distracting a service dog. So if you put the time into the service dog equipment, they're going to think twice before they let their little dog run over and interfere with your dog. So some of it is visual that way. Today happens to be another hot day. I can't work with him outside. And I'm realizing that just like in the past, if I go to the grocery store, it's probably going to be at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So I need visibility on these poles. Now this is a lucided rope, and in the first video I showed you how to make rope and luciding. If you want to stick with just the one tool of a lucid to use with your dog, that's fine. You can make all kinds of ropes with a lucid. And what you want to do in this case is wrap the pole. Now, the yarn I'm in my hand right now is maroon wool, which is not what I'd be putting on the card. But you would tie that in a knot at the beginning, and then pull it tightly as you wrap it, and just keep wrapping. And then when you get all wrapped, you tie the other end in a knot. And what I do when I do this is I coat the bamboo with glue. I use Elmer's glue. So these are actually crocheted, which is what I'm going to show you. It's just sometimes faster if you want to do it more quickly. It depends on the yarn or the twine or rope you're using. You can see some of the glue. I use Elmer's. I don't know how that would do on an aluminum pole. It would do fine on, if you just go to Lowe's or a hardware store or somewhere and pick up dowels to use for your poles. It would work fine on that. Now see, this walking stick has a very slight crack in it. Not bad, but it doesn't hurt to wrap the pole. Now, so that's that one already done with lucided rope. You can see how to do it. This is crocheted rope. And these also make like fake tennis balls. This one the dog has played with. I have a task I do with him called bring, drop, sit. And I throw this. He rips it all apart, opens it all up. It's a ball of crocheted yarn, crocheted rope. And he brings it. He has to drop it and sit. And then he gets a treat. And that's a fundamental training that leads to bring the cane, bring the phone, you know, bring anything you want, bring, drop, sit. So you can use crocheted rope as a very fast way to make tennis balls. You can use tennis balls, which we use both. And just to show you how you crochet the rope, this is an N size hook by Lion Brand yarn. I'm using orange again for visibility. And to start, let me see, I can show you how to start. When you go to start a rope, you just put the hook through a loop of yarn, pull it over the top, and slide the loop over the second loop. And what that does is make a chain. It's called a chain. It's also a foundation stitch for making most, if not all, crochet items. If you're going to make a scarf, you chain like 70 stitches and then start moving up on the scarf. But in this case, this is just crocheted rope. And I've already got this one started. And this is called a single crochet or a crochet chain. And you just take the rope over the hook and you just keep going. So the same way that you would use lucided rope, you can use crocheted rope. And that's how easy it is. And if you have a wood pole of any type, maybe with the aluminum, what you don't want to do is use super glue or any like wood glue. Don't use anything more than Elmer's because it's not necessary, and Elmer's is just the safest glue to use. Okay, so I have made these poles where the orange goes near the dog harness and the white goes on the cart. The top half of this pole is going to be wrapped in orange. And I'm sorry, the battery on the camera ran out, and that particular battery takes a long time to charge, and I have to let the dog out, so I'm going to finish the video with this camera. There we have the crochet rope that can be wrapped around the poles. And I had started to say I'm doing the front half in orange and that I can add the link for glow-in-the-dark yarn. Lion brand, there are a few brands of glow-in-the-dark yarn, but it's not really a yarn that you can find everywhere. Lion brand makes one, and I will put the link as I said, and it looks white. And then at night or at dusk, it glows green. And it's sold as a medium weight, a number 4 yarn, which is worsted weight. But someone on the Lion Brand website had said that it actually works up as a size 3, which is sport weight, or light DK. So either way, the orange is going to go on the front. It'll look white on the back toward the cart, and it'll be glow in the dark, and that'll be high visibility for going out at dusk or dawn. And I think it's worth the safety aspect. And then, like I said, this will also cushion the dog a little bit from the pole and make the pole a little bit stronger. These particular poles aren't cracked at all, so they're fairly strong anyway. And then, once I get all of that done, these are, like I said, really the main ingredient to having a cart for a dog. Because the cart itself only got little rope loops. The sled, the wheelchair, the larger cart, all they need are the loops. Now, I happen to make flowers out of either little crocheted circles, like the beginning of a granny square, or little flower looms. There are brass daisy looms. And I may use leftover glow-in-the-dark yarn to actually put flowers on the poles. You can decorate it. You can think of the early way that people had pony carts, goat carts, and they decorated them in a sense, or painted them and made them of value. And what that reflects in my case is that the service dog being able to pull things for me is a huge value. And so the cart and the poles are worth it.